most munificent avatar, most merciful incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's a very auspicious day for all of us who are fortunate enough to have received His mercy, some of His mercy at least, and now having some very nice facilities by His mercy to practice Krishna consciousness and make some proper use of this human form of life which otherwise would be wasted, particularly in this Kali Yuga. So we're very fortunate, and the whole world is very fortunate, that Lord Caitanya has appeared. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. This is a verse which confirms that Lord Chaitanya, he is none other than Radha and Krishna combined. So, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or sometimes Srila Prabhupada would say, as at the beginning, if I remember correctly, of the Krishna books, Srila Prabhupada says that people ask sometimes, who is God? And we may say, Krishna is God. But actually, if we think a little more carefully, then we might say that Radha Krishna is God. Radha Krishna is God. Because Radha Krishna means Krishna with his internal potency, his pleasure potency. So he is complete like that. Krishna is never alone. So who is God? Radha Krishna. And Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. As Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, so similarly Lord Chaitanya, as the combined form, directly the combined form of Radha and Krishna, he is also the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not really just an incarnation, expansion, avatar, part, or in some category of Vishnu Tattva, like those different categories. But he is directly that very Swayam Bhagavan, that very person, directly, he himself, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are very fortunate, and the whole world is very fortunate. We are particularly fortunate amongst those within this world that we've been able to take birth just shortly after the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and get his mercy through Srila Prabhupada's mercy, come in contact with the Sankirtan movement, and somehow or other it has touched our hearts, and we've been able to take to the process of Harinam Sankirtan and the process of Krishna consciousness in general. So we will read today from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We will read from the Adi Leela chapter 13, entitled The Advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is one chapter, very nice chapter, which is specifically dedicated to describing this event which we are celebrating today, the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. So there's something like 100 verses or so. I won't read the Bengali generally. I'll just read the translations mainly. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So read the Bengali or Sanskrit as appropriate of the first few verses and their translations, and then we'll just continue reading the translations. So we're beginning with Adi Leela, chapter 13, the Advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, beginning with text 1. Sapasidatu Chaitanya Devo Yasya Prasadata Tal Leela Varnane Yogya Sadyasyad Adamo Pyayam. I wish the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even one who has fallen can describe the pastimes of the Lord. Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Chandra Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Jaya Nityananda. All glories to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Advaita Chandra. All glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Jaya Jaya Gadadhar Jaya Srinivas. Jaya Mukunda Vasudeva Jaya Haridas. All glories to Gadadhar Prabhu. All glories to Srivas Thakur. All glories to Mukunda Prabhu and Vasudev Prabhu. All glories to Haridas Thakur. Jai Damodar Swarupa, Jai Murari Gupta, E Saba Chandra Daye, Tamakaila Lupta. All glories to Swarup Damodar and Murari Gupta. All these brilliant moons have together dissipated the darkness of this material world. Jai Shri Chaitanya Chandra Bhakta Chandra Gana Sabara Prema Jyotsnaya Ujwala Tri Bhuvana. All glories to the moons who are devotees of the principal moon, Lord Chaitanya Chandra. Their bright moonshine illuminates the entire universe. So now I'll just continue reading the translations. Thus, I have spoken the preface of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now, I shall describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in chronological order. First, let me give a synopsis of the Lord's pastimes. Then, I shall describe them in detail. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, adventing himself in Navadvip, was visible for 48 years, enjoying his pastimes. In the year 1407 of the Shaka era, or 1486 AD, 514 years ago today, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and in the year 1455 or 1534 AD, he disappeared from this world. For 24 years, Lord Chaitanya lived in the Grihastha ashram, household life, always engaging in the pastimes of the Hare Krishna movement. After 24 years, he accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas, and he resided for 24 years more at Jagannath Puri. Of these last 24 years, he spent the first 6 continually touring India, sometimes in South India, sometimes in Bengal, and sometimes in Vrindavan. For the remaining 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannath Puri, chanting the nectarian Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He inundated everyone there in a flood of love of Krishna. The pastimes of his household life are known as the Adi Leela, or the original pastimes. His later pastimes are known as the Madhya Leela and Antya Leela, or middle and final pastimes. All the pastimes enacted by Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his Adi Leela were recorded in summary form by Murari Gupta. His later pastimes, the Madhya Leela and Antya Leela, were recorded in the form of notes by his secretary, Swarup Damodar Goswami, and thus kept within a book. By seeing and hearing the notes recorded by these 2 great personalities, a Vaishnava, a devotee of the Lord, can know these pastimes one after another. In his original pastimes, that means in his Adi Leela, there are 4 divisions: Balya, Poganda, Kishora, and Yovana. Childhood, early boyhood, later boyhood, and youth. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the full moon evening in the month of Falgun, an auspicious time full of auspicious symptoms, when Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu advented himself with the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna. On the full moon evening of the month of Falguna, when the Lord took birth, coincidentally, there was also a lunar eclipse. In jubilation, everyone was chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hari, Hari. And Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu then appeared, after first causing the appearance of the holy name. At his birth, in his childhood, and in his early and later boyhood, as well as in his youth, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, under different pleas, induced people to chant the holy name of Hari, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In his childhood, when the Lord was crying, he would stop immediately upon hearing the holy names Krishna and Hari. All the friendly ladies who came to see the child would chant the holy names Hari, Hari, as soon as the child would cry. When all the ladies saw this fun, they enjoyed laughing and called the Lord Gora Hari. From then on, Gora Hari became another of his names. His childhood lasted until the date of Hate Kadi, the beginning of his education, and his age from the end of his childhood until he married is called Poganda. Jai Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ke Jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ke Jai. After his marriage, his youth began, and in his youth, he induced everyone to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra anywhere and everywhere. During his Poganda age, he became a serious student and also taught disciples. In this way, he used to explain the holy name of Krishna everywhere. When teaching a course in grammar, Vyakarana, and explaining it with notes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his disciples about the glories of Lord Krishna. All explanations culminated in Krishna, and his disciples would understand them very easily. Thus, his influence was wonderful. When Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu was a student, he asked whomever he met to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, he inundated the whole town of Navadvip with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Just prior to his youthful life, he began the Sankirtan movement. Day and night, he used to dance in ecstasy with his devotees. The Sankirtan movement went on from one part of the town to another, as the Lord wandered everywhere performing kirtan. In this way, he inundated the whole world by distributing love of Godhead. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu lived in the Navadvip area for 24 years, and he induced every person to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and thus merge in love of Krishna. For his remaining 24 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after accepting the renounced order of life, stayed at Jagannath Puri with his devotees. For 6 of these 24 years in Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, he distributed love of God by always chanting and dancing. Beginning from Cape Comorin and extending through Bengal to Vrindavan, during these 6 years, he toured all of India, chanting, dancing, and distributing love of Krishna. The activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his travels after he accepted sannyas are his principal pastimes. His activities during his remaining 18 years are called the Antya Leela, or the final portion of his pastimes. That's an interesting point. The Madhya Leela, when Lord Chaitanya, those 6 years, when he was traveling and spreading the Sankirtan movement all around, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Leela Mukhya Dhamma. These are the principal places of pastimes, or the principal pastimes. For 6 of the 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannath Puri. He regularly performed kirtan, inducing all the devotees to love Krishna simply by chanting and dancing. That's very nice. That there is no need for anything outside of the Sankirtan Yajna. Of course, many people have many ideas, and even amongst the broad Vaishnav community, many Vaishnavas have many ideas of love of God, how to achieve love of God. But here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that Lord Chaitanya, his program was to give love of God and to bring the devotees to the level of prema bhakti simply through chanting and dancing. No other more technical types of procedures and other things. Simply chant Hare Krishna and dance in ecstasy. For the remaining 12 years, he stayed in Jagannath. For the remaining 12 years that he stayed in Jagannath Puri, he taught everyone how to taste the transcendental mellow ecstasy of love of Krishna by tasting it himself. Day and night, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt separation from Krishna. Manifesting symptoms of this separation, he cried and talked very inconsistently, like a madman. As Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently when she met Uddhava, so also Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu relished both day and night such ecstatic talk in the mood of Srimati Radharani. The Lord used to read the books of Vidyapati, Jayadev and Chandidas, relishing their songs with his confidential associates like Sri Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar Goswami. In separation from Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all these ecstatic activities, and thus he fulfilled his own desires. He had his own desires to experience what Srimati Radharani was experiencing. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are unlimited. How much can a small living entity elaborate about those transcendental pastimes? If Sheshanaga Ananta personally were to make the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya into sutras, even with his thousands of mouths, there is no possibility that he could find their limit. Devotees like Sri Swarup Damodar and Murari Gupta have recorded all the principal pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in the form of notes after deliberate consideration. The notes kept by Sri Swarup Damodar and Murari Gupta are the basis of this book. Following those notes, I write of all the pastimes of the Lord. The notes have been described elaborately by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, the authorized writer of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is as good as Srila Vyasadeva. He has described the pastimes in such a way as to make them sweeter and sweeter. Being afraid of his books becoming too voluminous, he left some places without vivid descriptions. I shall try to fill those places as far as possible. The transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya have actually been relished by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. I am simply trying to chew the remnants of food left by him. My dear devotees of Lord Chaitanya, let me now write a synopsis of the Adi Leela. I write of these pastimes in brief because it is not possible to describe them in full. To fulfill a particular desire within his mind, Lord Krishna, Vrajendra Kumar, decided to descend to this planet after mature contemplation. Lord Krishna, therefore, first allowed his family of superiors to descend to the earth. I shall try to describe them in brief because it is not possible to describe them fully. Lord Sri Krishna, before appearing as Lord Chaitanya, requested these devotees to precede him. Sri Sachi Devi, Jagannath Mishra, Madhavendra Puri, Keshav Bharati, Ishvara Puri, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Pandit, Acharya Ratna, Vidya Nidhi, and Thakur Haridas. So they all appeared, in most or all cases, at least a generation before Lord Chaitanya. In the case of Madhavendra Puri, 2 generations before. By the time Lord Chaitanya appeared, Madhavendra Puri was already old. There was also Sri Upendra Mishra, a resident of the district of Sri Hatta. He was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, a learned scholar, a rich man, and a reservoir of all good qualities. Upendra Mishra had 7 sons, who were all saintly and most influential. They were Kamsari, Paramananda, Padmanabha, Sarveshvara, Jagannath, Janardhan, and Trilokanath. Jagannath Mishra, the 5th son, decided to reside on the bank of the Ganges at Nadia. So Upendra Mishra there, he's the father of Jagannath Mishra, who is the father of Lord Caitanya. So he is the grandfather of Lord Caitanya. And in Krishna Leela, he is Parajanya Maharaj, the father of Nanda Maharaj. So Jagannath Mishra then, he went to live by the banks of the Ganges. Jagannath Mishra was designated as Purandara. Exactly like Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, he was an ocean of all good qualities. His wife, Srimati Sachi Devi, was a chaste woman, highly devoted to her husband. Sachi Devi's father's name was Nilamba, and his surname was Chakravarti. In Radha Desh, the part of Bengal where the Ganges is not visible, Nityananda Prabhu, Gangadas Pandit, Murari Gupta, and Mukunda took birth. Lord Krishna, Vrajendra Kumar, first caused countless devotees to appear, and at last he appeared himself. Before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees of Navadvip used to gather in the house of Advaita Acharya. In these meetings of the Vaishnavas, Advaita Acharya used to recite the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, decrying the paths of philosophical speculation and fruitive activity, and establishing the super excellence of devotional service. In all the revealed scriptures of Vedic culture, devotional service to Lord Krishna is explained throughout. Therefore, devotees of Lord Krishna do not recognize the processes of philosophical speculation, mystic yoga, unnecessary austerity, and so-called religious rituals. They do not accept any process but devotional service. In the house of Advaita Acharya, all the Vaishnavas took pleasure in always talking of Krishna, always worshipping Krishna, and always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu felt pained to see all the people without Krishna consciousness simply merging in material sense enjoyment. Seeing the condition of the world, he began to think seriously of how all these people could be delivered from the clutches of Maya. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu thought, if Krishna himself appears in order to distribute the cult of devotional service, then only will liberation be possible for all people. With this leaves and water of the Ganges. By loud cries, he invited Krishna to appear. And this repeated invitation attracted Lord Krishna to descend. Before the birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 8 daughters took birth, one after another, from the womb of Sachi Mata. the wife of Jagannath Mishra. But just after their birth, they all died. Jagannath Mishra was very unhappy at the death of his children one after another. Therefore, desiring a son, he worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. After this, Jagannath Mishra got a son of the name Vishvarupa, who was most powerful and highly qualified because he was an incarnation of Baladev. The expansion of Baladev, known as Sankarshan in the spiritual world, is the ingredient and immediate cause of this material cosmic manifestation. The gigantic universal form is called the Vishvarupa incarnation of Mahasankarshan. Thus, we do not find anything within this cosmic manifestation except the Lord himself. As the threads in a cloth spread both lengthwise and breadthwise, so the Supreme Personality of Godhead exists directly and indirectly within everything we see in this cosmic manifestation. This is not very wonderful for him. Because Mahasankarshan is the ingredient and efficient cause of the cosmic manifestation, he is present in every detail of it. Lord Caitanya therefore called him his elder brother. The two brothers are known as Krishna and Balaram in the spiritual world, but at the present moment they are Caitanya and Nittai. Therefore, the conclusion is that Nityananda Prabhu is the original Sankarshan, Baladev. The husband and wife, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, having gotten Vishvarup as their son, were very pleased within their minds. Because of their pleasure, they specifically began to serve the lotus feet of Govinda. So here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has clarified the positions of Vishvarup and Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is directly Lord Balaram, but Vishvarup, he is an expansion through Sankarshan. He's an expansion from Mahasankarshan, in fact. So there is a difference there. And Lord Nityananda is in a transcendently higher position. In the month of January, in the year 1406 of the Shaka era, 1485 AD, Lord Krishna entered the bodies of both Jagannath Mishra and Sachi. Jagannath Mishra said to Sachi Mata, "I see wonderful things. Your body is effulgent, and it appears as if the goddess of fortune were now staying personally in my home. Anywhere and everywhere I go, all people offer me respect. Even without my asking, they voluntarily give me riches, clothing, and paddy." Sachi Mata told her husband, "I see wonderfully brilliant human beings appearing in outer space, as if offering prayers." Jagannath Mishra then replied, "In a dream, I saw the effulgent abode of the Lord enter my heart. From my heart, it entered your heart. I therefore understand that a great personality will soon take birth." After this conversation, both husband and wife were very jubilant, and together they rendered service to the household Shalagram Shila. In this way, the pregnancy approached its 13th month. But still, there was no sign of the delivery of the child. Thus, Jagannath Mishra became greatly apprehensive. Nilamba Chakravarti, the grandfather of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, then did an astrological calculation and said that in that very month, taking advantage of an auspicious moment, the child would take birth. Thus, in the year 1407 of the Shaka era, 1486 AD, in the month of Falguna, February-March, in the evening of the full moon day, the desired auspicious moment arrived. According to the Jyotiya Veda, or Vedic astrology, the auspicious birth moment is described as follows. The moon was in Leo, the figure of the lion in the zodiac. Leo was the ascendant. Several planets were strongly positioned, and the Shadvarga and Ashtavarga showed all auspicious influences. When the spotless moon of Caitanya Mahaprabhu became visible, what would be the need for a moon full of black marks on its body? Considering this, Rahu, the black planet, covered the full moon, and immediately vibrations of Krishna, Krishna, Hari inundated the three worlds. All people thus chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra during the lunar eclipse, and their minds were struck with wonder. When the whole world was thus chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in the form of Gaura Hari, advented himself on the earth. The whole world was pleased, while the Hindus chanted the holy name of the Lord. The non-Hindus, especially the Muslims, jokingly imitated the words. It appears that the term Hindu was being used at that time, because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has actually used the word Hindu in the Bengali of the verse. Hari Bali, Hindu ke hasya, Karaye Yavana. While all the ladies vibrated the holy name of Hari on earth, in the heavenly planets, dancing and music were going on. For the demigods were very curious. In this atmosphere, all the 10 directions became jubilant, as did the waves of the rivers. Moreover, all beings, moving and non-moving, were overwhelmed with transcendental bliss. Thus, by his causeless mercy, the full moon, Gaura Hari, rose in the district of Nadia, which is compared to Udayagiri, where the sun first becomes visible. His rising in the sky dissipated the darkness of sinful life, and thus the three worlds became joyful and chanted the holy name of the Lord. At that time, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, in his own house at Shantipur, was dancing in a pleasing mood. Taking Haridas Thakur with him, he danced and loudly chanted Hare Krishna. But why they were dancing, no one could understand. seeing the lunar eclipse and laughing, Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur immediately went to the bank of the Ganges and bathed in the river in great jubilation. Taking advantage of the occasion of the lunar eclipse, Advaita Acharya, by his mental strength, distributed various types of charity to the Brahmins. When he saw that the whole world was jubilant, Haridas Thakur, his mind astonished, directly and indirectly expressed himself to Advaita Acharya. Your dancing and distributing charity are very pleasing to me. I can understand that there is some special purpose in these actions. Acharya Ratna, Chandrasekhar, and Srivas Thakur were overwhelmed with joy, and immediately they went to the bank of the Ganges to bathe in her waters. Their minds full of happiness, they chanted the Hare Krishna mantra and gave charity by mental strength. So they didn't have to go and accumulate all the items and then give them. They just thought of them and then they were able to give them. It doesn't mean, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't mean that they just thought about giving things. But they thought of giving things, and those things were actually given. Like we might say that, oh yes, I will give you in charity 1,000,000 rands in my mind. You can spend it within your mind. It would go no further than that. All sorts of respectable Brahmin gentlemen and ladies, carrying plates filled with various gifts, came with their presentations. Seeing the newborn child, whose form resembled natural glaring gold, all of them happily offered their blessings. Dressing themselves as the wives of Brahmins, all the celestial ladies, including the wives of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Nrsingadev, King Indra, and Vasishta Rishi, along with Rambha, a dancing girl of heaven, came there with varieties of gifts. In outer space, all the demigods, including the inhabitants of Gandharvaloka, Siddhaloka, and Charanaloka, offered their prayers and danced to the accompaniment of music, songs, and the beating of drums. Similarly, in Navadvip city, all the professional dancers, musicians, and blessers gathered together, dancing in great jubilation. No one could understand who was coming and who was going, who was dancing and who was singing, nor could they understand one another's language. Yet, all unhappiness and lamentation were immediately dissipated, and people became all jubilant. Thus, Jagannath Mishra was also overwhelmed with joy. Chandrasekhar Acharya and Srivas Thakur both came to Jagannath Mishra and drew his attention in various ways. They performed the ritualistic ceremonies prescribed at the time of birth according to religious principles. Jagannath Mishra also gave varieties of charity. Whatever riches Jagannath Mishra collected in the form of gifts and presentations, and whatever he had in his house, he distributed among the Brahmins, professional singers, dancers, bhattas, and the poor. He honored them all by giving them riches in charity. The wife of Srivas Thakur, whose name was Malini, accompanied by the wife of Chandrasekhar, Acharya Ratna, and other ladies, came there in great happiness to worship the baby with paraphernalia such as vermilion, turmeric, oil, fused rice, bananas, and coconut. One day, shortly after Lord Caitanya was born, Advaitacharya's wife, Sita Devi, who was worshipable by the whole world, took her husband's permission and went to see that topmost child with all kinds of gifts and presentations. She brought different kinds of golden ornaments, including armlets, necklaces, anklets, and bangles for the hands. There were also tiger nails set in gold, waist decorations of silk and lace, ornaments for the hands and legs, nicely printed silken saris, and a child's garment, also made of silk. Many other riches, including gold and silver coins, were also presented to the child. Riding in a palanquin covered with cloth and accompanied by maidservants, Sita Thakurani came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, bringing with her many auspicious articles such as fresh grass, paddy, gorochana, turmeric, kumkum, and sandalwood. All these presentations filled a large basket. When Sita Thakurani came to the house of Sachi Devi, bringing with her many kinds of eatables, dresses, and other gifts, she was astonished to see the newborn child, for she appreciated that except for a difference in color, the child was directly Krishna of Gokula himself. Seeing the transcendental bodily effulgence of the child, each of his nicely constructed limbs full of auspicious signs and resembling a form of gold, Sita Thakurani was very pleased. And because of her maternal affection, she felt as if her heart were melting. She blessed the newborn child by placing fresh grass and paddy on his head and saying, "May you be blessed with a long duration of life, but being afraid of ghosts and witches," she gave the child the name Nimai. On the day the mother and son bathed and left the maternity home. This is on the 5th day. Sita Thakurani gave them all kinds of ornaments and garments, and then also honored Jagannath Mishra. Then Sita Thakurani, being honored by Mother Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, was greatly happy within her mind, and thus she returned home. In this way, Mother Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, having obtained a son who was the husband of the goddess of fortune, had all their desires fulfilled. Their house was always filled with riches and grains. As they saw the beloved body of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, day after day, their pleasure increased. Jagannath Mishra was an ideal Vaishnava. He was peaceful, restrained in sense gratification, pure and controlled. Therefore, he had no desire to enjoy material opulence. Whatever money came because of the influence of his transcendental son, he gave it in charity to the Brahmins for the satisfaction of Vishnu. After calculating the birth moment of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nilamba Chakravarti privately said to Jagannath Mishra that he saw all the different symptoms of a great personality in both the body and birth moment of the child. Thus, he understood that in the future, this child would deliver all the three worlds. In this way, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, made his advent in the house of Sachi Devi. Lord Caitanya is very merciful to anyone who hears this narration of his birth, and thus such a person attains the lotus feet of the Lord. This is very nice. Phala Stuti, a verse describing, giving a blessing and describing the benefit of hearing this narration nicely. So we hope you are all listening carefully. There's two more verses. Anyone who attains a human body but does not take to the cult of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is baffled in his opportunity. Amrita Duni is a flowing river of the nectar of devotional service. If, after getting a human body, one drinks the water in a poison pit of material happiness instead of the water of such a river, it would be better for him not to have lived, but to have died long ago. Sri Caitanya Nityananda Acharya Advaita Chandra Swarupa Rupa Raghunatha Das Inha Sabar Sri Charana Shire Vandi Nijadana Janma Leela Gaila Krishna Das. Taking on my head as my own property the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Acharya Advaita Chandra, Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, I, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, have thus described the advent of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ke Jai, Sri Gaur-Purnima Mahotsava Ke Jai. So I think we'll finish there. And those of you who are not working today, but are here in the temple, or not at school or university or wherever, that's very nice. If you made that decision to utilize today in this way, it's much better use. So we would say though, we would advise, try and find some nice service to do for Lord Caitanya today on his appearance day. The program will, formal program will continue. Of course there'll be the different artis during the day. Then we can at least break fast at 6:44, 16 minutes before Gora Arati. So there is an idea, I think it's an idea. Are you aware of the idea? Anyway, there's an idea, I don't know how official it is, to make some type of prasadam available. Anyway, we'll work that out, but it is a fact that, strictly speaking, we can break our fasts at about 6:45, although the program itself, main part of the program, will begin at 7, and we should all be there. Take part in the Gora Arati, then we'll have very nice abhishek for the small Gaunitai deities, I think you saw there, at the feet of our large deity of Lord Caitanya. So we'll have abhishek for them on the altar, immediately following the 7 o'clock arati. So that will go on with kirtan till approximately 8 or 8:15 or thereabouts. And then when that abhishek finishes, then we will have some further discussion about Lord Caitanya, his appearance and activities, and his Sankirtan movement, his mission, and